Alrighty, so here we are. We are just one day away from the release of the Book of Boba Fett on Disney+. It's really going to introduce a whole new layer of the Star Wars franchise between, of course, George, Jon, Dave, Robert Rodriguez, and other creators coming on board of the series. That's really going to transfer over into The Mandalorian Season 3 and exactly how it explains the events in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, plus exactly how he survived the Sarlacc pit. We will be learning a lot more about the character of Boba Fett in the coming, couple of hours, actually. So, anyways, beyond all of this, we already know that Robert Rodriguez does everything in his power in order to really kind of deliver no filler in this TV show, which honestly is quite refreshing. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So, given that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing everything that they can to really turn Star Wars around for the better, and to really utilize all of the Star Wars Legends material that they're going to be using from the highlights of Legends, I must add, and how they're going to combine that with the Disney canon, is going to be a very interesting turn of events. We already know that a lot of elements from Legends will be used in the Book of Boba, for an example, such as using Dark Jedi, which, by the way, we will be getting into that a little bit later tomorrow when we go over the actual show. But overall, everything related to Jon Favreau, what's great about him is that he's been a little bit more talkative lately about his overall ambition of Star Wars and exactly what's going on with the franchise and how he was able to drop some major news about Star Wars and essentially confirm some of the things that we've been talking about for the past number of months now. So, with that being said, of course, what's even all the more exciting has everything to do with the fact that with Kathleen Kennedy running into more issues with the Acolyte series by Leslie Headland and further delays rolling in, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are beginning to introduce brand new and exciting additions to the Star Wars franchise that is truly going to take fans by surprise. Now, it's described that both Favreau and Filoni are already beginning to work on the early stages of The Mandalorian Season 4, which will go under a different title to address a group of characters that will join the mandoverse. One big plan by Favreau that is being put together has to do with a massive time jump that will take place in the series with the addition of a member of the Skywalker family. In a recent interview, however, with Jon Favreau, he went on to talk about his work on future TV shows, where he goes on to state that what we are going to be doing with the Mandalorian series is using it as a foundation for us to branch to many of those beloved characters. What we wanted to do with Season 2 was experiment with that, and now we are going to be utilizing that in a way that will be more embedded in the story. We want to explore characters that were close to Luke Skywalker during his young adult life. Those like characters that you see in the originals and even the sequels at younger ages. Myself and Dave are going through everything to make this possible, and we want the fans to enjoy every scope of what we can actually do to make this happen. So, let me just pause right here for a second. We already know that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have big plans for Luke Skywalker, and he dives into that a little bit more about Luke. We'll get into that in just a second. But one thing about Luke Skywalker is that they're essentially using him as this base level to kind of create a branch of new Star Wars opportunities. And I think that's one great example of Jon and Dave, really taking advantage of one character in a very responsible way. And they're going to get into that a little bit later about how they actually balance everything out. Moving on. So he goes on to state that after all, family is the ongoing theme of Star Wars, and what better way to explore the concept of family than through Luke or Din Djarin. And what we are more interested in is Luke in creating that balance, so that it's right in the middle to the point where he doesn't steal the show completely from Mandalorian Season 3 and beyond. Legends characters that appeared years and years ago that were approved by George and those characters that interacted with Luke several times are also going to be implemented. We also are going to be throwing that in there, and you are going to be getting teased about all of this in the Book of Boba Fett. So I don't know if you guys saw the latest teaser trailer of the Book of Boba Fett, and if you look closely at this woman with the black hair and she's on that bike, that speeder bike, she has that robotic arm. I believe it's on her left arm or her right. That most likely is Hayden Lynn of Star Wars Legends, a dark Jedi that went into a Force trance in a sense. Basically, she really went through a large segment of time and really holds a lot of ancient history, and we're going to be learning more about that in the Book of Boba Fett. You know, you can see it's in the latest Book of Boba trailer about Hayden Lynn and how it transfers over to Star Wars Legends and more. Again, this is Jon Favreau paying a lot of attention to that. This is where the more exciting things start to roll in. We're going to get into that right now. So, without, of course, me giving anything away, Jon Favreau says, Book of Boba is going to introduce the entire new layer of Star Wars and how it leads to the backdrop of the bigger characters that you know and love in Star Wars movies, like Luke Skywalker and others. Additionally, separate from all of this, one thing that Jon Favreau is currently setting up for Season 4 is the introduction of a young version of Ben Solo, which most likely is what he was alluding to before, that is set to appear in the series in order to fully dive into the Skywalker family and the concept of uncle and nephew going on an adventure. This is something that Favreau and Filoni are working on closely together with George Lucas, as they know this is the perfect way to do this in the beginning stages of The Mandalorian Season 4 and other TV shows out there. They are also going through 4 different actors to portray young Ben Solo, one of which is Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things and of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, here's the thing about this, alright? The fact that Jon Favreau was able to say this directly to the fans, that what they're doing essentially is that they want to explore all the characters that are very close to Luke Skywalker's life, including his family and friends. Now, that to me is absolutely amazing. The fact that they are going to be using that layer of Star Wars and throwing it into the Book of Boba Fett, into The Mandalorian Season 3 and 4, as well as the Ahsoka Tano series, and more TV shows to be announced at Celebration of 2022, this is just a brand new take by George, Jon, and Dave in order to really get the ball rolling. What I like so much about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is that they are true passionate fans. I don't know if you guys ever saw the Luke Skywalker special. It's on Disney+. It's really called The Mandalorian Season 2 Finale, The Making of, and it's really all dedicated to just Luke, basically, which is great. You can see how Jon Favreau really knows his stuff and how passionate he really is, and how he even talked about how when he was working on bringing Luke back, it gave him tears in his eyes, and the same exact thing for Dave Filoni. It just goes to show you that they really are pretty much in the hot seat right now, and the fans really know that they are in the hot seat, and they have to do things right and they have to do things correctly in order to really convince the fans that Star Wars is back in full force, and that it really is going to utilize a lot of those Star Wars Legends characters, as well as many of the characters that are canon already that are very close to somebody like Luke Skywalker. We're talking about those like Ben Solo, or those like Mara Jade, or those like Han and Leia. A lot of that is going to be re-explored in the Star Wars universe that's going to be pretty much developed by George, Jon, and Dave, Robert Rodriguez, Deborah Chow, Peyton Reed. I mean, there's so many new creators coming on board of the franchise that are just die-hard Star Wars fans, and that's exactly what you need, and that's exactly what's happening. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.